Hello everyone and welcome to episode 41 of my Guild Wars 2 Let's Play series. This is the first episode of Act 2 of Guild Wars 2's personal story, and we are back on our first ever character in this series, Athos of Loamhurst, our human guardian, and we are about to start the next part of the game after we have explored all of the beginning zones and the beginnings chapters that are part of Act 1 of Guild Wars 2, and today is just going to be a map completion day as we level up. My goal today is to reach level 40 and explore a few things around the world. As we reach level 40, we will unlock the next chapter of the personal story, so let's go ahead and go back to Gendarren Fields, which is the last place that we have explored on this character, and we are at 66% map completion, and we've explored bits of this area around here, but we are going to go ahead and just explore it all right now really quickly, and then probably head to a new zone that we have not been to yet. Leaving Ebonhawke Hamlet, let's go ahead and go across the bridge here, and then we just have the eastern part of this map left to explore because we've explored the left 2/3 of this map. And of course the eastern parts here have us transitioning from Kryda into the Shiver Peaks, as we can kind of see a little bit of snow showing up there, but we have a few tasks around here and some vistas, and then there is one jumping puzzle in this area that I want to explore. So let's go ahead and begin with the task here at this mansion, where we have some pirates that we were fighting elsewhere in this map, and we can go ahead and fight them here too. Pirates play a big role in this part of Kryda because there's just a lot of pirates around here, and pirate themes are very prevalent around the map, and we're going to see as we head to Lion's Arch, which is the 6th and final city available in the game, and it's kind of like the capital city of all of Guild Wars 2. We're going to see that that location is a pirate haven. So just some more pirate storylines going on that we can explore. And then of course there's another zone in this game that focuses heavily on pirates, more so than Gendarren Fields, I would say. And then of course there are pirate storylines all throughout the rest of the game. Let's go ahead and take a look at this vista. But with having that vista, we can go ahead and finish up this task right here. And then with having completed this task, we can go ahead and head south here, where we have a point of interest, and then we have a jumping puzzle, or I believe it might technically be a mini dungeon, but I'm not entirely sure. But this jumping puzzle is a very special one for me because I think it is like one of the last ones, or maybe even the last jumping puzzle in Corteria that I ever completed. But I remember I was always confused about how to access the jumping puzzle in the first place, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't fully remember how to get there. So we are just going to do a little bit of exploration around here. I think we have to come to the west here, or it is right here in this little alcove. So let's go ahead and wander around a little bit. But it is a relatively simple jumping puzzle, I think, but it is a jumping puzzle that focuses a lot on underwater content. I think this is the entrance right here, this cave right here, which is really interesting when it comes to jumping puzzle, but I actually don't think it's this entrance, or maybe it's this wall, I'm not entirely sure. But it's really interesting that there's a lot of focus on underwater stuff, because that doesn't really make sense for a jumping puzzle, but like you still have to navigate through some various areas, and then you come like back up on land, and then you have to like jump across things like a normal jumping puzzle, and then you go back into the water and then repeat that. I don't think this is the entrance, but this is definitely a cool looking area right here, where there's a little bit of an alcove and this random person following me into it with a fallen log and stuff there. Okay, I think I found the entrance, and yes, this is indeed the entrance. So let's go ahead and jump down here a little bit, and then I have not done this in a very long time, and I think there's like traps everywhere, I'm not entirely sure. So let's go ahead and wander through here and find our way through here. This sign says greed is dangerous, and there is a waterlogged chest right there, which I have a feeling that the scale is kind of bugging out right now, but that interacting with this chest might be a bad idea. So let's go ahead and just interact with it anyways, because we might get something cool from it. Let's go ahead and take the scale out of its misery, and then let's see if this chest is trapped. It is indeed trapped, so that is not a good thing, and now the scale is attacking us. So I think we're going to just have to downstate fight the scale, and I think we should be fine. This regeneration is definitely very good on the scale, and we don't have enough damage to kind of go past it, but we might be able to, unless he just has permanent regeneration. So I might go ahead and just die here. Back in this area, we can go ahead and just drop down into here, and then I think this is like the primary underwater area that I remember And we're going to go ahead and just wander around here a little bit. And I'm not entirely sure, I think, oh, I just did a loop. Not entirely sure where we need to go, because it's been such a long time since I've been here, but I have a feeling it's like down and then we have to go back up somewhere. So maybe it's up over here. I'm not sure if this is just where I was just now. It looks like this is a new spot. There's a ton of scales there. I'm gonna go ahead and dodge through that. And then it looks like we're coming up to a new area and there are some ghostly pirates around here. So I might go ahead and just skip these guys and go ahead and wander around here. There's an ancient torch right here that we just lit up. So we might have to light them all up. I'm being honest here, I don't really remember all of this. But I think if we can just jump up here, and then I'll go ahead and run around here, loop here, and then, oh, I got hit and crippled there. Let's go ahead and deal with these pirates before we try to make that jump. I'm glad I didn't jump off there because I would not have made it far at all. So with all of them dealt with, let's go ahead and jump, and then I think we can jump right here. And I'm not missing any torches right there. We can go ahead and get this ancient torch, and then that is a second one, and then I think there is a third one over there. So let's go ahead and jump back this way. And then I think we might have to go up here, so we can go up here, and then I think we can go ahead and just drop down right here. There's an ancient torch right there. I am taking a lot of damage, and then I think we have to drop down here, and then there should be like a door or something that opened up here. I'm not entirely sure. Let's go ahead and explore this a little bit. It looks like there's a door right there. There might be another torch down here we have to light. Oh, there's another torch right here, so let's go ahead and light that one, and then we can drop back down here and see if this door has opened up, and it looks like it has not. Okay, looks like a veteran spawned here, as well as all the other ghosts that were around here respawned, so let's go ahead and group them up and try to AoE them down. I'll go ahead and just use all of our skills here, and then we can go ahead and finish off the pirate who has life steals, so she might heal a little bit. But we can loot them, and then I think now that's opened the, yeah, I just saw that earthquake there on my screen. Let's go ahead and swim through here now that this is opened up. And I think this is almost the end. There might be like one more jumping section. Let's go ahead and swim through here. Keep a lookout for any traps that might exist here. And then we can go ahead and, I'm going to assume we want to come up here and not go down there. And then I don't see anything right. Oh, I see some stuff right here. So let's go ahead and jump up here and see what's this way. So there's some, oh, this is not good. Just gonna heal myself there a little bit. And then we can go ahead and try to avoid any of these rocks falling. I'll come up along the side here because that seems safe. And now I think we are at the final part of this place here. We have Phil Thackeray's magical Moa feed, which I think we have to grab. So let's go ahead and grab this, and we have another player up there. But I think this would tame a Moa that player just killed, so then we don't have to fight it, but we can just go ahead and run this way. And we can go ahead and open this chest here, and I think this is Swashbuckler's Cove complete. Yes, Swashbuckler's Cove. So we can go ahead and get our chest there with 1 or 2 greens and then 2 little upgrade components. And then that is the jumping puzzle here in the southeastern Gendarren Fields. Let's go ahead and I'll just quickly go through this eastern part of the map so we can get the rest of the map completion objectives here. So we have this haven right here, which I believe we've been to, and then we have some caves around here, and a hero point, and then I think there is a waypoint and a point of interest down here. Let's see. We have this hero point right here that we can go ahead and commune with. And then we have this waypoint right here, which is a really interesting waypoint with this area of the road, because this road right here used to connect to Lion's Arch, which we can see right here, but they blocked it off with like this giant rock wall right here, and it is no longer an entrance anymore because they updated Lion's Arch in like 2015 and changed a lot of things about it basically, and we'll kind of explore that a little bit in the future. But that entrance is no longer an entrance anymore. But we can go ahead and come through here, and then I don't believe we got this vista when we were here last time, but let's go ahead and get it.
What have they done to the air here?
Now I'm going to go ahead and waypoint back to this haven because we can head north to the last little area of this map that we have not explored on this character. If we come off this way, this would be an entrance to, I believe, Lornar's Pass. Yes, Lornar's Pass. right next to the mining camp that we explored in that area, with the Skrit and the cave and the mine north of that camp. But we have some dredge mining right here, so let's go ahead and deal with them. And then of course we have this waypoint right here, which I think is the first waypoint we ever got in this part of the road when we came through here on our Char or Norn character. And then we can go ahead and come down here where we can go ahead and participate in a battle pit right here. So there are basically like 3 different things that we can do right here. One of which is going on right now, which is this event where we can survive the trials of the battle pit. So we can go ahead and participate in this. And then there are 2 different types of battle pit cages. There is one to the south over there, which is kind of designed for like groups of players to do. So if you were like coming through here with like 2 other friends as you do map completion, that would be like a good challenge-ish to be able to fight some higher level creatures over here. But then on the northern pit here, where we are doing this event, we can also come to these battle pit cages, and then we can fight one-on-one with some different monsters around the world. But let's go ahead and participate in this event right here, because we get some nice experience from that as well. I think this is a really cool concept, and I think I'm just a big fan of kind of like arena battles in general. Like anyone who's played World of Warcraft, of course you know some of like the stuff from the Burning Crusade and Wrath of Lich King and Cataclysm, where there were those gladiator arenas where you basically fight like super dangerous mobs, and I thought those were all super cool. We also completed our 100th event in Guild Wars 2 now for this achievement to complete 5,000, so we have some more to go. But now we have this boss right here that we can go ahead and fight. And we have several friends with us right now, so this should be decently easy for us to do. And now we have defeated him. So let's go ahead and come around here and we can fight in some of these battle pits. So I accept my fate, and then let's go ahead and pick a hard one because I believe this gives the most progress. And we have a veteran Jungletron right here that we can go ahead and defeat. And come fight another one, and I think we will need to fight 2 more in order to complete this task. So here's one final bear that we can go ahead and defeat, and now we have completed that task, which is the last task in Gendarren Fields, and now we just have a few different map completion objectives to get right here in this area. So let's go ahead and leave this place and run out over there, and we have a waypoint right here and then a passage through the mountains, which is very convenient. So let's go ahead and run through here. But coming through the other side, we can go ahead and run north here and come to a very special area, because this is going to be the Vigil headquarters right up here, which is a spot that we will be coming to next episode as we do some story. But we can go ahead and get a first peek at it right here, and we can see that it is a very, very cool location. It is called Vigil Keep, and it is here in the Vigilant Hills of Gendarren Fields. And let's go ahead and run up here, and we have a waypoint and then I think a point of interest, and then we can come back down and get this hero challenge. But we joined the Vigil on this character, so we can go ahead and see what we have lying in store for us, as this order is really, really cool because it's like militaristic, and I think having like a castle as its primary headquarters is really, really cool. Or I guess a keep to be specific. But this is probably like one of the coolest buildings in all of Guild Wars 2. We have this point of interest right there, and then we only have one more point of interest left, and a vista and a hero challenge. So the point of interest is actually down here, and it's a spoiler for Living World Season 1, so I'll just grab it real quickly. But running down here, we have a hero challenge that we can get, so let's go ahead and talk to this War Master Yulia right here. And then she says that I've been tracking your legend, Athos of Lomhurst. Don't look so surprised, and don't expect me to tell you how long I've been following your progress. All you need to know is that I was there when you saved Shaymore from centaurs. You've come a long way. And then she says, it's time for you to fight me. Can't you feel it in the wind? You're ripe for it, and I'm ready to share my knowledge with you. The spirits have brought us both here. I waited long for this day. Are you ready? I'm ready. And then we can go ahead and fight her, and we can go ahead and get this hero challenge, and then we just have one more vista left to get. This is kind of fun because this is another member of the Vigil, and we just joined the Vigil, so we can go ahead and best her and kind of prove ourselves to other members of our order. But running up here, let's go ahead and come all the way through here, and then this vista is the last thing we need to do to complete Gendarren Fields. But with that, we have now completed the map, so let's get our reward here, and then I'm going to go ahead and return to Divinity's Reach. And before we head to our next map, I want to come through here really quickly and just learn a crafting discipline real quick so we can complete this adventure guide here. So I'll go ahead and interact with this armor smith, and then we can learn how to be an armor smith, and it's very similar to being a tailor. So let's go ahead and just craft 10 bolts of jute really quickly, because I think that's all we have to do in order to we have to do a little bit more than that, because we need to get to level 10 on armor smith, and then we should be good. So let's go ahead and just use all of our crafting ingredients here to get all the way up, and we can also gain some experience along the way. And I believe that is everything that we have to do for this adventure guide section, except for doing some more gathering, which we'll get as we head to the next map in the game, which we are going to go ahead and do that now. And this is a very special map because it is called Fields of Ruin, and this is actually in Ascalon, but it is a very interesting part of Ascalon because we are heading to a very important location called Ebonhawke. And what Ebonhawke is, it is the last bastion of humanity in Ascalon. It's the last city of Ascalonians, where they were basically driven back by the Char, and they basically stood their ground in Ebonhawke, and they were basically able to defend Ebonhawke until the treaty between the Char and humans were signed. And we are here in Workton, where we have some very cool stuff here, because this is the Ascalonian district in Divinity's Reach, so a lot of people around here are Ascalonians. And then there's actually something really interesting going on right now, which I guess I'll highlight, because there are some people role-playing right here, because the Fountain of Workton right here is a very popular location for people to come to and role-play, and Divinity's Reach as a whole is really popular because there's a ton of cool stuff that you can do around here as far as immersion and role-playing goes. So we have some people over there that are doing just that, but we can go ahead and come up here. We have these statues here, and then we have this Ashura gate, which the Ashura established between Ebonhawke and Divinity's Reach to allow the humans of Kryda and the humans of Ascalon to be able to come and go through Divinity's Reach and Ebonhawke. So let's go ahead and come from Divinity's Reach, and we can go ahead and go to Ebonhawke here in the Fields of Ruin, and we have this really cool concept art right here. And then as we load in, we can see this really cool human city, and then we can go ahead and start completing the stuff around here. So we are now here in Ebonhawke, and it looks kind of similar to Divinity's Reach, but definitely very different. And this is kind of like a military area where we can see right here there are very tall walls that the humans built in order to defend themselves against the Char, and then of course now they have it to defend against any other forces that threaten humanity. But of course there are some forces within that are threatening humanity as well, so we can go ahead and deal with separatists all around this area, and then there's some skirt around this area and more stuff that we can go ahead and deal with. But we have a really cool thing going on right here where there's actually crafting stations here, and Ebonhawke kind of acts like a miniature version of a city. And I know some people like to come here to be here for their city, because there's not a lot of people that come around here, but we even have a bank and a trading post right here. But the thing that I am mostly interested in right now is the tasks and kind of some of the stuff that we can explore around here. So let's go ahead and come down this way, and then we can go ahead and get this waypoint first, and then this task right here, and I see a hero challenge as well, and there's just more and more stuff going on. And there are some more people right there. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing, but they are having a grand old time. And we are now level 41, which is really cool. We got a ton of experience just from that crafting and getting all of those achievements and stuff. But I think first things first, we'll go ahead and run up here, and really quickly I just want to mention that there's a little bit of an Easter egg going on right here, and I'm not going to show it, but if you're ever coming through the Fields of Ruin here and you're in Ebonhawke, go ahead and come this way and you can fight a chicken. And then I just noticed there's so much stuff going on right now, but there is Wade Samuelson right here, which is a really cool character. Let's go ahead and chat with him really quickly. And he says, hard to imagine this farm was the site of a bloody battle 200 years ago. We still find bones and bits of weaponry when we dig for crops each year. We can ask, find anything interesting? And he says, dug up a blackened char skull that was more unsettling than anything. A friend of mine found a rusty shield, not worth anything, just a bit of history I suppose. So what do you do out here when you're not digging up relics? And he says, not much, just run the Ebon Vanguard. Wade Samuelson, captain of the Ebon Vanguard, at your service. Then you can say you seem casual for a military officer. And he says, I wasn't born to be a warrior, I'm just a farmer. I joined the Vanguard to make sure our farmlands would be safe. Turned out I had a knack for giving orders. Before I know it, I'm the captain. And then we can ask, what will you do now after the treaty gets signed? And he says, if the treaty gets signed, farming has taught me that nothing is certain until harvest. But if it happens, I'll gladly hang up my sword. Tired of killing, I just want to make something grow again. So Wade Samuelson, leader of the Ebon Vanguard, which is like the faction that arose from the Ascalon Vanguard that used to be like the primary defense force of Ascalon until the Char basically wiped out most of Ascalon, and then the Ebon Vanguard rose from those ashes. And now they are here in Ebonhawke, and Wade Samuelson is the leader. And then one more cool thing about Wade Samuelson is that he is actually next in line for the kingdom of Ascalon, where his forefathers were the kings of Ascalon. So basically, if there were to ever be another king crowned in Ascalon, he would become king unless he gave it up to somebody else. But let's go ahead and run up here, and then we have a really cool vista that we can get, and we can kind of see the city of Ebonhawke out before us, and then this vista is going to give us an even better look. So with this vista, let's go ahead, and I'm just going to waypoint back down here, and then I'll run through this group of people right here, and I'll go ahead and just work on this task. These might be more role players, I'm not entirely sure. I've never seen people really doing a lot of stuff here in Ebonhawke, but of course it is definitely another really cool location. But this area right here is a script cave, and there are basically a lot of like treasures in here, and there's an event going on right now where we want to basically get all these Vanguard helms and return them to the armory here, because we want the Ebon Vanguard to be armored.
Yes.
And the script basically stealing all of their supplies and stuff is definitely not going to be able to help them. And then over here we have another hero challenge that we can do, where we can fight this fallen angel right here, who's the Queen's Hand in Ebonhawke, which is really cool because Queen Jenna of course has decent relationships with the people of Ebonhawke, given that she is arguably the most powerful and most important human in all of Guild Wars 2. And of course Ebonhawke and Divinity's Reach work together because they have relatively good relationships. But beyond the script, there is another task in this area where we can basically deal with the separatists, which are the humans that basically don't want the treaty to be signed between the humans and the Char, and we can basically just kind of deal with them, and we can negotiate with them and give them ideas, and we can tear down the propaganda and try to prevent like the manipulation and antagonization that they are inflicting upon the people here in Ebonhawke. We also have this memorial plaque and the statue right here, which is a really cool statue of a few different humans, and we can go ahead and interact with this memorial plaque. And then this one says, "For the men who lived to guard us all, they stood defiant atop the wall." And I think that's what each one says, but this one says, "Come to the fore, O sons of Ascalon, we fight once more, the battle lines are drawn." This one over here says, "If here they fall, they shall live on, whenever you cry for Ascalon." And then lastly, we have this one right here that says, "Fear not the cost in blood or gold, mourn not the lost, for they'll never grow old." So we can go ahead and leave this area, and this is of course a really cool memorial to the humans of Ascalon, that a lot of them lost their lives in the battle against the Char. And then of course we now have Ebonhawke, and this is all thanks to all those human sacrifices. We have Kestrel Market right here, so this is a little bit of a market district, and then we can get Kestrel Waypoint right there. And Kestrel is really interesting because I think that word is similar to a word that we're going to see in the far future. So if I remember, I'll go ahead and bring that up once we get there. But let's go ahead and come this way, and then we have a graveyard right here, and there is a lot of stuff going on right here, and I think we can pretty much interact with all these gravestones right here, and they all have different characters that are assigned to them, many of whom are characters that some people might recognize from the original Guild Wars, I believe, or from the books in between, or some other pieces of story. But the main one up here is Gwen's grave right here, who is an incredibly important character from Guild Wars 1 Eye of the North. And Gwen, whose last name is Gwen Thackeray, is like the great-great-grandmother of Logan Thackeray. A simple memorial marks the final resting place of Ascalonian hero and Ebon Vanguard commander Gwen Thackeray, loving wife of Lieutenant Kieran Thackeray and ancestor to Captain Logan Thackeray. So let's go ahead and commune with this place of power, and then we can get this really cool hero point right here. And there are 2 memorial plaques right here. This left one says, to Captain Langmar, who led us into this battle, and Captain Gwyn Thackeray, who led us to this home. We shall never forget you. And then this memorial plaque right here, dedicated to all those who bravely fought and fell. We honor your deaths, for you kept the heart of Ascalon alive. So a very kind of somber area, but overall a really, really cool area, because anyone who's played through Guild Wars 1 remembers a lot about Ascalon, because it's one of the most important locations in that game. And then of course a lot of people hold a lot of animosity towards the Char, and this is kind of the remainder of that story that happened in Guild Wars 1 through the end of Guild Wars 1 and now into Guild Wars 2. And before we head out of the city, we have a character right here called Joanna, who I don't think I've ever talked to before. And she says, hey, a Char came through this gap and headed to the farm, and then it went all wavy and disappeared like a ghost. Nobody believes me, but I saw it. Strange. Did you hear anything? Did the Char say anything? He says, no, it just ran by. You couldn't hear the footsteps even. I only felt the breeze, then gone. So this is an interesting kind of like piece of story going on right there. And that might be a reference to one of the Guild Wars books. I'm not entirely sure. But now that we are done with all of the Stronghold of Ebonhawke right here, we have 2 exits out of here, and I think in this episode we are going to go ahead and head out of the south exit right here. So let's go ahead and get this point of interest right here, which is called the Postern Gate, and then we have Blackwing Excavation right here that we can go ahead and complete this task right here. But there's a really cool thing right here called the Desert Gate, and we can go ahead and talk to these guards right here. And then they say, this gate is closed for the security of Ebonhawke. I can't let anyone pass without orders from Captain Samuelson or Queen Jenna herself. No going through the gate. Got it. But if you see here, this gate is basically connecting to a very kind of like dangerous passage through the southern part of Ascalon here and into the Crystal Desert. And it is a really cool piece of lore that, unfortunately, a little bit of a spoiler, we don't see this in the game just yet, but it might be something that appears in the future, of course. But let's go ahead and focus our attention up north here, and then we can go ahead and deal with all these shifting rocks, and there's some more script and some cave rats around here, and then we can go ahead and just complete this task. We are now at level 43. I think we've gained like 7 levels this episode, so we should be good going into next episode to be able to do chapter 4 of the personal story, the first chapter related to the Orders of Tyria. This task is pretty basic. We're just defending the miners here at this excavation, and of course they're trying to get stone and like resources in order to help strengthen Ebonhawke. And it's kind of interesting because it's like right on the outskirts of the walls of Ebonhawke, and of course a lot of people inside the walls feel relatively safe. Right now it's a little kind of like suspicious because like the gates are open, so people can kind of just walk in, but of course the gates could close if needed in order to defend the stronghold from outside forces. But the mine is kind of interesting because it's like the last location that any enemy forces would be able to kind of like take over before they are not able to progress any further unless they are able to find a way to breach the walls and invade Ebonhawke. There's one more thing inside of Ebonhawke that we might take a look at some point in the future, but it's kind of like a long achievement where basically we can learn about the founding of Ebonhawke through a bunch of book pages that are scattered around the city, and it's like a little bit of a scavenger hunt. But that might be something that we look at in the future. And then with having completed this task, we now have the rest of Fields of Ruin right here. But I think we are going to go ahead and save that for a future episode, because as far as this episode goes, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it good here. And as we return to the game next week and the next episode, we can go ahead and begin looking at chapter 4 of the personal story. But I hope you all enjoyed watching this episode, and I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the world of Tyria. Goodbye.